Yeah,
Uh,
recording started. Be good.
great. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Shashank. Observability as a space, have been my bread and butter for almost 17 years now. Different roles. Started with delivery, moved into techno-commercial role within the same organization, moved into Cisco as sales engineering, got promoted, became a leader. But all in all, this is what I have been doing in some form and capacity for last 17 years now. Um Before I start, and me and Joy, we are part of the same team. We are part of a team called Emerging Tech. So we are responsible for three major things. The first one is obviously today's discussion, which is OT intelligence. We do it through a solution called EdgeHub. The second one is SAP, which is again a super critical application department, and Splunk has a very extensive portfolio of how do we cover it. And the third one is AI, as in what enhancements are being done as far as AI in security and is concerned, and security for AI is concerned. So we are part of that emerging technology group. Before I get started, so first, my screen is visible to everyone, right? Everyone,
Yes, it is.
awesome, great. Um, can anyone briefly tell me about their understanding of OT or OTI? Any vague or any precise information or definition that you have? Anyone? Okay. Can anyone?
Something which is related to machines, I would say, in very layman term.
No, no, absolutely right, absolutely 100% correct. See, so everyone, I'm assuming, knows what IT stands for, right?
Yep.
Infrastructure technologies. OT is, a brother from another mother. OT is operational technologies, which means where the actual operation for that business is happening. It can be a manufacturing hub, it can be a mining customer, it can be the delivery folks, it can be the FedExes of the world, it can be a retail chain, it can be a car manufacturing site. So anything that is properly operational is it does become part of the OT space, right? Why this discussion, or why the need of this particular device, or why is it something that has now becoming critical every day? If you if you try to solve a problem in the OT space, there are multiple problems, multiple challenges. The first one is to get access to the data, and why it is difficult we'll talk about in our further slides. But the moment you speak to a manufacturing customer or a retail customer, the applications are fine, they understand how do they behave, the infrastructure is fine, they have certain set of monitorings that are in place for the infrastructure. But the moment you come to the OT part, the operational part, uh, capturing the data and stitching it back to where it can make sense to the business is really tricky. Second, and the most important thing, at least 50% of the industries that I know, they still use systems which are not absolutely new. They are systems which are running for like 25 years, maybe 30 years. The systems are a bit of legacy, so the protocols that they use to either store or pass on information, it's still not acceptable to the new tools, barring SNMP, which is a protocol that almost every tool that I know can capture. But there are a lot of other protocols which are not very common. And the third and the most important part where we have seen gaps, so what people did, they have made adjustment, they have created gateways where data from the operational floor is stored, and once it is stored, they used to push it to a backend where they are making use of it. So there is a decent amount of delay when it comes to watching a live production environment. There is a delay. What we bring to the table, we bring a very small device. I'll hand it over to Joy once I'm done. A very small device, which is an edge device. The term edge is referring, primarily telling the world that it is something that can be kept at the edge of the operational floor. It's a very small device, but as far as the capability is concerned, the single line is all and every data that you think is necessary for the customer can be ingested in it. All and every. I'll double click and I'll talk about it more. So it can be the core OT data. It works on certain protocols. It can be network data. So if the customer is interested in also mapping, monitoring, managing the OTI network, awesome, it can be done. It can be the OT security. So let's say the use case is not limited to observing OT. They will also want to ensure that the operational floor is secured, and in case there are any potential threats, uh, uh, you know uh, anything that has to do with the compromise of the OT floor, they want to do a monitoring as well, and then stitching it back to the IT world. So IT world is dependent. It's not actually dependent, but it's correlated with the OT world, right? So the application which is responsible for selling a car basically gets the information if a car is being made or not. So if you have ever configured a Dell laptop, or if you have ever done any customization on a website, what happens is once you build your product on the website, once you see that this is the chassis that I want, these are the kind of RAM that I'm looking for, I need an SSD 5112 or 1 TB, it basically sends an information in the backend and the manufacturing process starts, right? So both IT and OT are very closely stitched, very closely knit for the business to run properly. So the goal is not just to bring the data, but also to correlate it or stitch it so that you can have a single pane of glass for the entire industry. And then on top of it, depends on your use cases. Using ITSI, you can use MLTK, you can be proactive, you can set your alarms even before there is a problem that hampers your floor. And then because it captures data, and Splunk has been capturing data for 21 odd years, 20 odd years, you can run any sort of machine learning, any sort of language models, and ensure that you have built-in AI capabilities on this device. So that is a problem that we are trying to solve. Bring in data, stitch it together, as in correlate the IT and OT data, be proactive as far as monitoring those flows, those manufacturing houses are concerned, and ensuring that in case there are use cases around AI, you can go ahead and run it. So what does it look like? This is the device, and as I said, Joy has the device. He'll physically show it to you. What do we do different? So yes, in in a typical IT monitoring, IT observability space, there are a couple of things which are not very commonly monitored, right? So no one would bother about quality. You may not have had discussions around how can we monitor, the sound, the gyroscope, the humidity, the temperature, if there are vibrations or not, if there is proper light, and these are very typical OT use cases. If you speak to a mining customer, let's say Reno Tinto, where there is a petroleum which is being mined from the earth, they would be very interested to understand the sound and the pressure and the humidity. If any of these parameters go haywire, there is a potential of a high risk that can happen. If you move into extensively large data center, they will be absolutely critical about the temperature that is being maintained, because thousands of servers that are running. If you're speaking to a manufacturer, he would definitely would be interested in understanding, monitoring, and effectively, predictively, proactively monitoring the vibrations that are happening in the machine. So what we capture these metrics, which are not traditionally talked about as far as observability is concerned. And how do we do it? We do it based on these particular protocols. So as I said, um, OT space is different because the way they capture, generate, and push the data, it is very different. SNMP is one of those protocols that you may have heard, may have used, but there are multiple other protocols. There are close to 500 protocols that are there in the OT space, depending on the vertical or the customer that you're speaking to. But In my experience, in my limited experience, 80% of the use cases are covered with these four protocols, which are, industry defined protocols: OPC UA, globally used, MQTT, SNMP, and Modbus. This small device supports all these protocols by default, so you are not, manually doing anything on it. You are turning it on, connecting the backend to a Splunk instance, and the moment this is placed in a manufacturing hub, or an OT space, it will start capturing the data, any data and every data which is coming from all these protocols and more, right? Before I dwell into this, and this is a critical side, because one of the words that I used was, correlation or convergence, and this is a typical example of how can Splunk as a platform converge data from both the departments, the IT and the OT. I'll take a pause. Um, Meet, is there a question in the chat, or does anybody have a question that I can quickly answer?
Not in the chat, but if anyone has any question, feel free to unmute yourself and go ahead. This is something. Traditionally Splunk is something where we are onboarding the data mostly from the VM or through HCC or something. But this is something new, at least for me. So if you think even the question might seem very basic, feel free to
No.
unmute yourself and ask directly. We got few of the best of best over here to answer.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm the best, but see, no answer is a wrong answer, and no question is a basic question. Uh, I wanted to take a pause because we joined 7 minutes late. I want to rush a little bit so that I can talk about the very key important things which are primarily around the use cases, and I can hand it over to Joy, who will actually give you a glimpse of how does it really look, because you guys all are expert in Splunk. There is nothing new that we can teach you on Splunk, but it's just that the capability of bringing data from sources that you may not have explored, or you may have ignored. If someone said, hey, can you monitor a vibration? No, sir. In Splunk we have universal forwarders, and we can monitor XYZ data. I don't know if we can monitor the vibrations or the humidity or the light. So this is just an information for you, that in case tomorrow, day after, after a month, if you hear anything that involves bringing OT to Splunk, you would know that, yeah, I know there is something that they do. You may not have all the answers, but you will say, I think there is something that Splunk does. Let me get back to you after getting some additional information. So feel free to stop me if I'm rushing. Please ask me to slow down. There are two sessions that we have planned, only to ensure that we do justice to the audience. But on this slide, as I said, the intent of bringing EdgeHub, or the intent of selling EdgeHub, or the intent of promoting EdgeHub, is to ensure that we bring in all kind of data on a single pane of glass. Can anyone on this call give me a weirdest of example that the data that they are capturing, in their Splunk experience? Any data coming from background jobs, backup tapes, anything? Can anyone give me any example? No? Okay, no problem. When you look at Splunk, and you guys have been using it, anything and everything that is there in the IT space can be monitored. There can be different ways, right? There can be forwarders, there can be Splunk based apps, there can be custom data ingestion, there can be multiple ways. There are multiple ways through which you may have done everything that is required on the network, that is required on the compute, that is required on the application. But there are certain areas, and I'm talking about level 0 and 1. This is a area which typically gets siloed for a customer. This is a very silo, and because it's a very specialized field, they have dedicated teams who are responsible for monitoring their sensors, responsible for monitoring the SCADA, the PLC, all those systems. They are a very specialized group of folks who would do that. The intent is to stitch all this together on a single pane of glass. So it can be a compute, it can be, a middleware server, it can be an application, it can be a network device, or it can be anything that comes from the OT space. It can be your camera, your sensors, your AC, your data center temperature monitoring, the humidity, the rack chassis, the equipments that you are running, anything that has to do with the core level 0, level 1, the data can be brought in using EdgeHub into the same Splunk instance. And based on the data that you have, you can bring in, or you can create an end-to-end custom dashboard for the customer. So he can visualize all data of their entire IT and OT on a single pane of glass. So this is how, we use the platform as a backend to scale, stitch, and visualize the data on a single pane of glass. Uh,
If I can pause you for a minute, Shashank,
yes.
there were three levels mentioned. I am pretty new to this. Uh, if you can share some more information, what it would be like, what the terminology would mean in the real. So, does level 0 or 1 would mean that user facing or something which is available to the public, and 2 and 3 would be
Yeah, yeah.
on the back, on the rack or something, or what would that mean?
Level zero, simplest of the example.
Hmm.
And you can always, or the entire team can always stop me if the experience is not relevant. If you go to a Nike store in US, Meet,
Hmm.
a common problem, and especially on weekends or on sale, that there are huge lines. There is a big line outside the store.
Yeah.
Have anyone noticed it? And do you know why? Do you know?
Uh, because of their how they run the operations
Yeah.
line pipeline altogether.
So it is about capacity planning. If
Yeah.
it's a 10,000 square foot store and the store is meant to manage, let's say, 200 people, if there is 50 staff, they would only allow 150 customers at a time to get in, right? It's a
Yeah.
very, very standard thing in the US. Apple store have similar queues. You are not allowed to get in. And how do you monitor it? How do you monitor it? This is where that monitoring happens, or this is where that data is captured. So in Edge there is something called Edge AI. Edge AI basically is a capability of understanding the capacity of the floor and then making sure that the floor is not, overcrowded. They will always send a notification either through message, or there are dashboards. So if you look around the Nike store, you will see that there are dashboards. If you walk into a Cisco office, you will always see a screen which says the office is 70% occupied today. These are the meeting rooms which are booked, these are the rooms which are empty. So the capability of getting that data, sensory data, is one of the use cases. um, Simple example, I don't know if you remember, there was a Mahindra Xylo car,
Hmm.
XY yellow. It's an old story but still very relevant. There was a very small device in the manufacturing unit, which turned bad, and the result is the front window of the Xylo started giving problems the moment it was out from the showroom. I don't know if you remember, or you guys are old enough to remember Mahindra Xylo. And almost all Xylos were called back, or they were sent back to, the repair centers, and those things were fixed. When they went back, checked the sensor from that particular, manufacturing floor, it was sending events. There is some alignment issue, and the glasses that were fitted were not fitted properly, and hence the motor which powers the window to go up and bring down, it never aligned the glass in a very straight way. So level 0, level 1 is where the core work happens. If you are a retail industry, you would be worried about, the products. You would be worried about the number of people that are coming in, all those things. It can also manage your warehouse. So How do you think a person would scan a shoe that you have liked and tell you if the shoe size 9, which is your size, is available in the warehouse or not? So have you noticed it? So if you walk into a store, you pick up a shoe or a croc and say, "Wow, this is look," but my size is 9. He will say, "Let me see if we have number 9 in the warehouse." He'll just scan the model number and he will tell you, "Yeah, we have number 9. Let me bring that for you." Have you experienced it? Have you seen it?
Yes. Yep.
So all these are sensing production control use cases.
Mm.
All those are use cases.
Okay.
It's a very generic thing. We may not have noticed. We have experienced it. We just not have noticed it to say that, oh, this is how it works, or it is connected to a backend application. It is a scanner. It is a handheld device which is scanning a code, asking the backend application if the inventory is available. So all those use cases are level 0, level 1 use cases.
All right. Yeah. Perfect. Now I can even remember a couple of companies who are using probably some camera sensors and something like
Ah,
this in their cafeteria to inform the employee or notify the employee about the hours where when they can come and have some
wow.
snacks, or if it is
Wow.
occupied or not. So yeah,
Great
now it
example.
makes
Yeah,
sense. Yeah.
great example.
Yeah.
So depends on the industry vertical that you're speaking to. I
Yeah.
have written few of the use cases and I'll go through them, but depends on the industry. But that's a very nice use case that you just told me.
Yeah. Perfect.
One of the things that I was talking about when I started talking about EdgeHub is, consider this as a gateway which is very flexible. Like, it's very flexible. If you have your own image, if you have your own container which is capable of doing something, you can actually run the container in this box. You can run Splunk Universal Forwarder as a container on this blocks. Litmus, I'll talk about Litmus, Node-RED, Cybervision. Have you heard of this product called Thousand Eyes, Cisco Thousand Eyes? Anyone?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, awesome. So Cisco Thousand Eyes primarily is, in one word, it's a network observability solution. Network outside in and both inside out. You can monitor the network using Thousand Eyes. Thousand Eyes as a solution can be deployed on the Edge Hub, and you can get the OT network data. Cyber is again a Cisco product used for OT security. Cybervision as a container can be deployed on this particular box, and you can secure your OT space. There are two which are very important, which is Litmus and Zeek. Litmus.io and Zeek. Litmus.io is open source for sure. Zeek, I don't remember. When you speak to an OT space, when you speak to an OT guy, the number of, as I said, the number of protocols that is used across the world in OT is more than 500. More than, like, there are so, every industry, every vertical, every application, every manufacturing floor, every machinery has some unique, some unique protocol. All of it is not inbuilt, but if you run litmus.io as a container, it supports more than 250 OT protocols by default. So if you're speaking to a customer and you show him this slide, this one, and you say, you know what, we have OPC-UA, MQTT, SNMP, and Modbus, and he would say, you know what, none of these are of any use to me, because my equipments are super modern. So if you speak to any chip manufacturing, they may not have any of these today. They're all using, chip manufacturing has got a new set of protocols that are there. So you don't have to worry, although it's not supported by default. You can always install Litmus, and you can have 200, I said 250, I'm sorry, you can have 275 pre-built industrial drivers. So this device is not limited to use cases. As far as you can think of solving a problem, uh, you can actually solve the problem. There are ways you can solve the problem. So for example, Siemens, Allen Bradley, these are very big names. Hitachi, Emerson, Mitsubishi, all these machineries are supported by default if you install litmus.io as a container. Everyone knows universal forwarder, so now I'm not gonna spend time. Cybervision, um, a very critical aspect of security. or the focus on OT security is really very high these days. So you can install this cyber vision container. You would need separate license for cyber vision, right? Just to be clear, it is not something which is free or open source. So if you want to protect the OT space, you can run this as a container, and barring apart from collecting the observability data, you can secure your OT. Node-RED is the same thing. Zeek, again, super important. Passive collection of information. So at times there are scheduled runs that happen, in an environment. Like if a factory is supposed to run at, or a job is supposed to run at 5 in the morning, you can actually store the data using Zeek containers. So as I said, come to us with the use case, and there is there is a high probability that we may have solved it for some customer or the other. But this device is very capable of running those containers, and you can maximize the use of the EdgeHub device. Now, I just want to spend a couple of more minutes before I hand it over to Joy Babu. I have explicitly written the use cases, not just the vertical. So if you're speaking to a customer who is heavy on, manufacturing and machinery, you can use this as an example, right from overall equipment effectiveness, which is a very critical parameter for them, to the body assembly health, as in how each and every part or the sensor on that part is behaving and responding. And you can stitch the entire manufacturing journey for them on a single pane of glass. What are the use cases that we call out? So process automation, quality control, and predictive maintenance. So if you're speaking to a manufacturing customer, these are the keywords or the use cases that we can solve. Data center, again, something which is very common, known to us. The metric on the OT space may be a little different. So utilization, capacity, humidity, temperature, power utilization, HVAC, all these are typical parameters that are required by the core data center guys, and these are the ones that we absolutely support out of the box. So what is the on a higher level, what are the use cases? Uptime and systems availability. We spoke about this example, smart places or building monitoring. If you have noticed, um, there are certain retail stores even in India where the temperature is self controlled. Have you been to any of those places, Meet, or anyone? Which means if the number of people in the store increases, the temperature on the AC will suddenly drop. Like if they're running at 24 at 100 people, and if there is 150 people, it will come down to 19 automatically, so that no one feels heat. So this is one of the use
Yeah.
cases of smart places. People are using it. There can be multiple use cases. The Nike showroom one that I gave you is one example. In a lot of retail store, you won't believe, and this is a marketing strategy. In a lot of retail store, the highest selling products are kept at your eye level. I don't know if you have ever noticed it. It's a marketing strategy, but
Yes.
it's one of
Yes.
the ways people use the data. And if you ever look closely, your eye level will have the most flashiest of the product, like they are very colorful packaging and all of that. So it's a very old retail strategy. The flashy product, they are stored at eye length. And this is also an example of smart places or building monitoring. um, Retail, warehouse, and inventory management, one of the core and key use cases, as in how effective your warehouse is and how much control do you have on the inventory. In-store customer service, improvement, customer experience improvement. So as I said, you don't want to overburden your billers. You don't want to create a long line of people standing in the queue for billing. You want to ensure that the store is available, the equipments in the store are available, the store is not overcrowded. So these are the use cases that are relevant to the retail world. Event monitoring, we spoke about event monitoring, and that's my time. I tried to run it as fast as I can, Joy.
No, thank you, Shashank. Let's pause for a minute or so for any questions before I actually show what you have spelled out in the presentation.
Dwarika Mohanty has written a very nice use case. Airport baggaging handling systems, probably. The answer is yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Wow. Amul dairy storage area. Yes, correct.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And decathlon is one of the experienced Oracle.
Yeah, yeah, very nice use cases.
Absolutely,
Correct.
absolutely. You got it right. You got it right. And uh, are there any further questions before I actually take you through the demo? If
I
not,
think we could. Yeah. Let's go to the demo, the
yeah.
most exciting part.
If not, what I'll essentially do, me and the team, I'll show you the device, how it looks like. This is how the device looks like. It's on my desk. What you see here, this is the EdgeHub device. This is a production grade device that I have. This device has all the, as Ashank said, it has all the pre-built sensors in it. So if you look into this device, all the sensors show the data. I mean, this is the LED OLED screen which is in front of you. It shows all the sensor metrics that are being captured in front of
So,
you. Yeah.
just one stupid thing, man. Because we both are in Delhi, why don't you show the AQI?
the
Right? The most relevant metric in Delhi, right? AQI.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let me see what the AQIs look like. The sound, decibel, air pressure, HVOC, CO2 emission is 983 ppm. Temp again by humidity, air control.
And we have not done anything,
So
okay,
I mean,
Meet. So we have just plugged
Yeah,
in
of
the
course.
device,
to your
turned
Yeah.
it
to
on.
your surprise, my room is pretty well ventilated, and somehow the AQI shows 90, which is surprising. I mean, outside it is
90.
way beyond 250. So I
You
think
are in Switzerland, brother.
I can live for little longer than what a typical Delhiite lives. Okay. All right. Yeah. So this is how the device looks like. And as Sashank said, we have accelerometer, we have gyrometer. So the angular velocity, the acceleration, the light. If you see, if I'm able to show you, if you see the light, it shows at real time. It's showing uh, 59, 58 lux. If I just close the light sensor, it will immediately go down. And as soon as I put my finger on it, it goes down to 5.6. This is the velocity, or this is the reaction rate at which the device works. And as soon as you see the changes here, this data is directly integrated with Splunk platform and get pushed to the Splunk native platform. There are seven inbuilt sensors, which gives a lot of metric which you see in front of you. But you do not have to rely on this metric or look into this particular device every time, because all of this get pushed to Splunk platform, enterprise or SaaS, whichever you choose to. Because when you configure this device, this essentially has a option to ask. The option it asks is which Splunk platform you want to push that data, and you can push that data. This There is a light which shows at the bottom. This light basically shows the green signifies that it is online right now, blue signifies that it's in configuring, and red shows that the device is offline right now. So it essentially, at the eyeball level, you can see that what is happening with this device. And device is extremely powerful, as Shashank said. This is an edge hub device, and being a hub device, you can bring in data from uh, any kind of sensors, anything that you want to bring in. What I will do now, I'll share my screen and I'll share the real-time dashboards. Let me share the entire screen actually. All right. Hope you're able to see my screen.
Yes.
Okay. So this is the same dashboard that was part of the presentation. And if you look at this dashboard, this is a real-time dashboard that you see in front of you, essentially showing us the productivity of a manufacturing unit, which is essentially painting the cars which are in the production line right now. If you just read this through, or if you just look into this particular dashboard itself, it will show you how valuable this information can be for any manufacturer who is basically into automobile industry, or a manufacturer who is basically trying to build a car and look into the productivity of the shop floor. It gives you all the important metric, the overall equipment efficiency, which means that the availability of all the devices that are out there, what is the plant productivity has been, how is the quality of the production have been over the period of time. Now you might ask me this question: how does it calculate? So it all come from the underlying data which is being pulling through, and this data can be an accelerometer sitting on the uh, ankle or the joints of a robot which is painting the car. Say for example, this car is being painted, and this particular robot which I see has a malfunction, or the arm is not really moving fine, or it maybe the air quality in the room is not fine, which is not allowing the paint to get dry properly before it moves to the next stage. It will cause hamper in, or it will essentially cause the quality of the car which are being produced. Likes of BMW, likes of Mercedes, or likes of Audi would never want a car which goes out of show floor is 99.9% ready. They always want 101% readiness in terms of the productivity or the quality of the product they produce. Similarly, uh, because as I said, it is a part of the overall observability we talk about, right? I mean, when you integrate this data with your SAP data, say for example, you are getting an order, and then the order processing is happening in the plant. So order the soft from the software system front, the order is coming in terms of the maybe some online system. As Shashank took an example, you can already always assemble your car for, or you can always order your car as per your need, and the order goes into your SAP system where the order processing essentially happens. From the order processing system, it essen- goes into the real production where the real car will be made based on the customer requirement. This is where your edge hub essentially plays a very very critical role. It measures through each and every aspect of an environmental factor which can which can uh, impact your productivity in terms of the speed of production, the quality of production, and then the actual environmental factors which are always causing the delay in kind of all the order processing that is happening, right? Everything comes under control. And this dashboard itself could be a very good example. I mean, this is one, as we call it, is an art of possible dashboard. It can be anything of anyone's need, as I think Mr. Mohanty said, gave an example, right? uh, Baggage handling system in the airport, that the metrics and uh, the KPIs could be always different. They will never be a same, never be same as what we have in what in particular car manufacturing system. That's for a baggage handling system. You would always want to know what, how is the idler, or how is the pulley belt working, performing right now. Has there been any delays in uh, any kind of delay, any kind of lag, anything that is hindering the police to move the bags faster, or have been delivered or not, or whatsoever, right? These are the kind of metric you want to always capture. So this is one of the example wherein you can see through that what are how is the assembly line performing, what is the level of productivity, what is the temperature, and all those factors which can impact the car manufacturing. In a similar way, the same use case, I mean a different use case, same kind of metric, and you can see that in a data center where the temperature, or the HVAC, which is essentially cause like managing the entire control of that data center, every rack which is being out there, what is the temperature, how is the cooling out there, what is the level of water which you are essentially maintaining. So you would, this is an example of very very nice example of how you manage your data center. Individual racks that you see in front of you, the temperature of individual racks, and this is not a picture, this is a real time data that is coming in. And as you see in front of you, would see all these metrics changing, and so there is no animation which is going on, this is all real, which is going which is coming in front of you. So based on your customer requirement, based on what kind of use case you're trying to solve, uh, you can always use an external sensor which can push in data to EdgeHub, and then the data can be pushed to Splunk platform, and Splunk then natively uses its all the capabilities, maybe machine learning capabilities, the AI capabilities that it has, all go all essentially comes into picture. One of the point that Shashank made, a very nice point, that there is, so with one device we cannot solve world hunger problem, so we cannot solve all the problem with one particular device. So is that this device is called a hub device. Say for example, if there is one particular use case wherein the customer is using a particular sensor which is very unique to that customer, you need not bother about it, because it might have a different protocol which it supports. But this device is essentially capable of deploying a container inside it. You can always deploy a container which can handle that particular protocol, make it understandable to EdgeHub, and then data get pushed to Splunk, and then the Splunk magic comes into picture. So these kind of dashboards, the all the capabilities, alerting, that whatsoever you want, you can always do that. So we, that's the reason we call it the intelligence platform. The Splunk native capability remains same, just that how you're getting data and what is the uh, KPIs that you're measuring, or what are the factors that you essentially want to control, remains different. Last and most important, I think Shashank also gave an example of retail, and let me quickly pull that example. I think this is the one. So retail has a different use case altogether. Retail, as if it's a Nike store, or if it's a store which is selling certain ammunitions or anything, right? Anything, they everybody has their own KPIs. So they mostly rely on the sensitive cameras, the cyber visions, and everything. They have different kind of uh, KPIs that they want to measure. This is one of the dashboard which has been built for a t-shirt company, which is Splunk t-shirt company. And if you see here, it gives you all the KPIs, right? The occupancy on the real time, the what overall time which card checkout for individual pause time which an individual is taking. And this is all coming through different sensors which are out there, different cameras which are out there, and then getting amalgamated with your Splunk data, core data. So with this data, when it gets correlated with your applications data, this data when it goes correlated with your overall OT data, it essentially brings in a lot of value to your customers. And then this is again a unique proposition from Splunk, which gives you a different aspect or different perspective altogether. That's my time too. I will open the floor for questions now. Anything and everything that now that you've seen the live demo, any questions that you have?
Yeah, by the way, before we move, I think I have seen this dashboard. This was live in Conf 25 as well, over there. So the customer traffic, the physical traffic was being monitored. Who is spending how much time, or what's the density on the floor was also being monitored, and the checkout rate as well. So yeah,
Absolutely, yeah.
makes sense. There are few in
Absolutely.
the
And
chat.
again,
Yeah, I'm sorry. Please go ahead.
yeah,
No, no, no. Can I just share my screen one more time, Joy? I'll show them the guitar wallet.
yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah,
Please,
that
Shashank.
was also there. It was interesting in conf as well.
It is, yeah,
Have you seen that, Meet?
Yeah, yeah, yes.
Joy, if you
yes.
stop sharing now, I'll quickly.
I have actually stopped sharing, haven't I? Okay, one
Okay.
moment.
Uh,
I've no.
This is this. I loved this demo when I first time saw it. This time I went and played the guitar as well. Is my
This is
screen visible, Meet?
yes.
this is an amazing demo. Yeah, Shashank, the voice is not coming through, but I think that still it's okay.
This is a EdgeHub. Do you see the EdgeHub device?
Yes.
That's a comprehensive dashboard which shows the entire guitar manufacturing process, and any guitar which is faulty or does not have any kind of has any kind of anomaly will be moved out of the production.
So that was it. Something which was set up in Cisco Live and on in Conf.
Yeah, it was interesting. There are a couple of questions, by the way, over chat if you wanna go through. Number one is how is PIA data or some sensitive data handled, like be it masking or so?
Uh, Dwarika. Dwarika, in the OT space, technically there is no PII data. You basically are collecting data from the machine. So machine would not have a PII data. You can unmute, and if you have a further question, we can talk about it. Okay.
Absolutely. So OT is all about the data which is coming through all the IT, typical core IT technologies. PIA is always it's a layer 7 data that we talk about.
Yeah,
PIA is always
correct.
layer 7
Absolutely.
application data.
Hemal says the way the dashboard is designed, it's totally fab. Thank you. Fortunately, it was neither me and Joy. It was one of our colleague who designed it. We'll pass on your message, Dwarika. Some sensor like occupancy camera, microphone could collect PII. Um, Camera can capture an image. So we will not process the image. We will use it as a count. So if the camera processes 100 images, for me, there are 100 people on the floor. And microphones, no, we are not talking about collecting data from microphones. How to onboard device and collect data from the device? Is there any process? Kamlesh, yeah, it's a very simple process. I think the next session that me, Meet, and Joy we have planned, we although intend to run you through to turn off. We are planning to show you how to turn on the device, then go to your Splunk instance, onboard the EdgeHub device, and how you see the data coming. So if it is okay for you, next week on 14th we'll collect again. We'll connect again, and we will show you how to turn on the device, how to set the device in your Splunk instance, how to onboard the device, and how to start capturing the data. Dwarika, awesome. I'm totally fine with push template data through sensor into Splunk Edge, but how can we push data like pulley, any device?
Yes, so because I'll take that question. So
Okay.
yeah, typically if you talk about pulley or any system which has idlers or pulleys which are running in, right, they have their own collecting the sensors which are out there which can measure the number of rotations or RPMs per minute. Say for example, the pulley is stuck or the idler which is moving the conveyor belt on top of it is stuck. It will immediately send the data. So it has the sensor would send a alarm. That alarm could be pushed to edge of device. As I said, it is a hub device. It can take any kind of alarm or a data which is coming in and then push it back to Splunk. If that answers your question. Perfect.
Kamlesh, do we have any use cases where you monitor wearable device like devices used for simulation for gaming character? Kamlesh,
Nothing that I can think of, Kamlesh. That's a good. Yeah, you don't even need some OT technologies for that because wearable device are either on Android or they have their own operating system on top of it. I can think of a very nice example if Shashank can also echo me on that. That's coming from the world of FedEx. FedEx, I mean, that's way back during my days of AppDynamics. They used to have, they use the real user monitoring technology that AppDynamics has. They essentially built in the real user, the Android devices for something called an MRAM. Using that device, this was a kind of a watch that the FedEx warehouse employees used to wear, and they used to use that watch to scan through all the products that which are there, this barcode that which are there, and then using that they used to collect that those how many. So they don't have to carry the what do you call it, the cradle device in their hand and then scan through. They had the wearable device, and anywhere they go they can just open open the wearable device that had a camera in front of it. They used to use that scan. That could be one of the example. But yeah, OT does not fit in there.
thank you, Joy. It's a nice example. Mm, any other question, team? Great.
Awesome.
Meet
Yeah. I
closing
think we
comments,
are
man.
awesome. Yeah. So thank you, first of all, Shashank and Joydeep for having the session. We will meet again next Friday, same time, for the detailed discussion on the complex question and how to set this up. If you are from Ahmedabad area, by the way, for all the attendees, if you are from Ahmedabad area, I do have EdgeHub with me. I had a fortune to visit Conf, and as a trust member, they give away to all the members. So if you want to play around, if you got some customers to whom you want to physically showcase to this, or any use case that you want to implement, feel free to just ping me, and we can work together on the same. And yeah, Sashank, enjoy. Just like this was your first user group session, it was first for me and the team as well.
Wow.
This is the first session for Ahmedabad user group, which is
Wow.
six of the India. So there are, I think, five: Delhi, Pune, Bangalore, Kanpur, and Kolkata, I think.
Okay.
And this is the first ever session which you both
Yeah.
contributed to. So thank you so much.
First is a
And
special one, Meet. First, the first one is a
indeed,
special one. And just to
indeed,
um, give you all a little bit of comfort. See, fortunately, it won't be a big trouble for either me or Joy to come to Ahmedabad for a one-day workshop. If this group becomes a little more interested, even after 14th, if you think there is something that we can do, either me or Joy can be there, sit with you, bring our edge hub. You already have a edge hub, so we can play around, we can connect, we can onboard it on multiple Splunk instance, and we can do a lot of use cases. So feel free, if this group grows, we are happy to do more sessions and more deep dives.
for sure. Yeah, that would be awesome.
Great.
Perfect.
Thank
I
you,
think we
everyone.
are
Yeah.
on time. Thank you so much, everyone. See you next Friday, same time.
Thank
Thank you.
thank you so much.
Have a
Amazing.
good one. Bye.